Want a chance to win your own free NOAA Weather Radio? All you gotta do is subscribe to the channel and you're automatically registered. Now, onto the video. The National Hurricane Center released its official forecast for today for the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. And as many experts have warned, this one could be one for the record books. We'll break it all down, coming your way next. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weather Nerds YouTube channel. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman with some breaking news hot off the presses. I have the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Season for the upcoming 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, and boy, is it looking quite busy out there. Now, before we get started on that, I need your help. I want to get this information out to as many folks as possible. So please subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up on this report. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And like I said, I want to get this out to as many folks as possible. So again, thanks for your assistance. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Here are the latest numbers from the National Hurricane Center as we're looking at 17 to 25 named storms as compared to that normal 14. Hurricanes, 8 to 13 there as compared to the normal 7. And major hurricanes, we're talking about 4 to 7 as compared to the normal 3. Now, there have been some forecasts out there going as high as 33. In fact, the Hurricane Center is calling this a hyperactive season. And we could challenge the record back set in 2020 when we had 31 storms that year. So it's going to be quite busy and quite active. Now, when we're talking about those major hurricanes, we got to look at the Saffir-Simpson Scale. So we're talking about Category 3 or above. So winds greater than 111 miles per hour. And you can see how progressively worse it gets as you go to Cat 4 and Cat 5. Of course, Category 5 is winds over 155 miles per hour. And hopefully we won't see anything like that as compared to, say, Hurricane Michael, like we saw back in 2018, hit the Florida Panhandle. So again, a very active season is expected ahead. Here are the names breakdown for you here as we're going to start out with Alberto, Beryl, and Chris, and so on. And again, we do run the risk of potentially running out of names there. And if that was to occur, then we would go ahead and switch over to the Greek alphabet to continue on and with these storm names as we progress deeper into the upcoming hurricane season. So again, we got all the ingredients coming together for a very active season. What's driving this? Well, the first thing we're going to highlight in here is the fact that we have La Nina. This is the upwelling of waters here in the Eastern Pacific. When that happens, that means we have less strong winds above the Atlantic, okay? So tropical systems do not like high winds. They like to bring all that heat energy at the surface, goes through the center and evacuates through the top. So La Nina is a prime environment for tropical systems in the Atlantic, although it's reduced, obviously, in the Pacific. On top of that, we've got some very warm waters out here, as you're already seeing, out here in the middle of the Atlantic right now. And I can kind of show you a chart to kind of illustrate this very well. Look at this chart right here. This is the ocean heat content in main development area between 10 degrees and 20 degrees north and 85 and 20 degrees west. So this is as of May 22nd. You'll notice this little chart right here. We are definitely tracking outside the norm here. Again, here's where we're currently at. And we're kind of tracking like you'd see maybe toward the middle of August. So water heat availability out there, that's what these hurricanes feed off, is running above normal, and it's probably going to stay there. You see the mean line there with the blue. We're running way above that, and that'll continue to be the case right through the rest of the hurricane season. So by the month, if you look at the June expectation here, this is where climatologically speaking, where we see the most tropical activity takes place. We're talking about off the East Coast here, off the Southeast Coast, and again, a big swath of the Gulf of Mexico. However, because the fact that we've got that latent heat out there right now, you can see anything out here into the Atlantic potentially as we go forward here in entering the month of June and going into July, where we might see activity form where it doesn't typically form for this time of year. In fact, I can kind of highlight this just as of today from the National Hurricane Center. Okay, this right here is what they're currently looking at right now, and there is a 10% risk of something development. We were talking about this a couple days ago as this little area of disturbed weather near Cuba and the Dominican Republic as this is moving up into the Atlantic. Only about a 10% risk here, but again, something to watch as we go into the Memorial Day weekend holiday. As we look at the satellite imagery here, again, we're talking about the little area, disturbed area there, running right in here. So we're talking about right in that zone right there that's kind of moving up into the Atlantic. And this continues to show up on the American GFS model as well. Again, showing something potentially maybe going into that way as we go into this upcoming weekend. So let me back my model up here once more time, and we'll transition over to that. Again, this is the American GFS model. Your time cue's in your upper right-hand corner, and watch as I go forward here a little bit. You see that little disturbed area kind of swirling up just a little bit there out into the middle of the Atlantic. So we're talking about this little zone right in here. Does it become a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm? Time will tell, but I've definitely seen crazier things happen. But as we go through time, this is going to stay well out into the Atlantic. Not a big deal here, folks, as this stays on. And I'll go ahead and take this model out again all the way to its full run, kind of take this in through the first week in June, and not seeing it too much out there. Now, I do see something that kind of spins up here near the Azores and gets cut off here. This, who knows, maybe it will become a hybrid type tropical system out here. Again, wouldn't be unprecedented to see something like that, especially as warm as it is out in the Atlantic. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not. But generally, it stays pretty quiet out there for most of the time out here. Again, you got a little something else spinning out there in the middle of the Atlantic. So we'll see how things evolve here as we go into the first week in June, as we'll continue to watch the intertropical convergence zone, which is right down here. Again, it'll continue to move up toward the north here as we go into further into the hurricane season. And we'll watch these waves come off the coast of Africa and make that turn and move out into the Atlantic. That's where things will get hot and heavy and busy as we go through the 2024 season. Now, of course, the peak of the hurricane season, we're talking about getting in toward September 10th. That is the climatologically peak of the hurricane season. But again, we could see more activity form in June and July. That is normally pretty quiet just because of the conditions we're going to be seeing out in the Atlantic for this year. And we'll see what ultimately the number turns out to be once we get in through the end of the season, which of course ends on November the 30th. So that's your breaking news here for this morning. A very quote-unquote hyperactive season is ahead for the Atlantic tropical season. And of course, yours truly will be watching this every step of the way. So if you would like to get regular updates in this into your YouTube feed, again, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content, as we'll kind of watch how the season evolves ahead and see what's in store here for the Atlantic tropical season for 2024. All right, that'll do it for this edition. Again, I appreciate you guys helping me out here as we try to build this little channel. Look forward to serving you here in the future. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next report. Bye-bye for now.